Now I'd like to hand over to Sergio de la Puente, the International Trade Advisor for I&I Life and Health Science sector, to chair this session for us. Please, Sergio.
Thank you very much, Tai, for the webinar, and thank you to all the panelists today for contributing to this webinar. I thought we got really valuable information, and I hope everyone in the audience got some takeaway lessons today. So, conscious of the time, I'm just gonna go quickly to the questions we got from the audience. I'm gonna put the first one to Jonathan, to Mirna, that we just have it here. So the first question to her is, how do you recommend proceeding in order to become a recognized or approved supplier for both the public or the private sector tender invitation process?
Hi, Sergio. Hello, everyone. I guess when you think about, we heard a lot about the regulatory approvals. There's also some quality certifications that the companies need to think about. But when we I guess focus only on how to become a supplier to a hospital, private or public hospital group. For public hospitals, I guess it's probably just a question of registering for different tender sites. So there's a federal government's AusTender website where they publish all the federal health contracts, and also, as mentioned previously, every state health agency has their own public procurement portals for their healthcare sector. So I think in this case, a lot of the suppliers work with local partners, Australian companies who can register and basically respond to any opportunities that way. For the private health sector, it's slightly different because, as mentioned, the private hospitals manage their own procurements. So suppliers can approach hospital groups such as Ramsay or Healthscope directly and engage with their procurement teams. And there's also a procedure which may be slightly different for different hospital groups, but basically you can register on their website as an approved, to become an approved supplier for that particular hospital group. And again, a lot of the Australian hospitals prefer to work with local distributors, so they would have a network of established partners through which they source different types of equipment. I think it's sort of slightly different for software solutions, but yeah, it's yeah, I could talk about that probably for a long time. So, but that's it in a nutshell, I guess.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much, Mirna. Really appreciate it. The next question is for David with regards to the TGA. So what are the TGA requirements for sponsors, and what options does Northern Ireland companies have that does not yet have a presence in Australia?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so that's a good question. Let me just make sure that there is no echoing here. So the Australian sponsor is basically, it must be a local Australian entity who will be the first point of contact during the product registration. Now, often overseas companies mix together sponsor and distributor. There is no such requirement that these two entities must be the same. So you can actually, if you are from Northern Ireland, you can engage with a local company only for the sponsorship, for the registration aspect of your product, and engage with a separate entity for the distribution. That means that with that model, you can really keep a good handle and control on the registration aspect of your device and just deal with the supply or the distribution with another party. Now, the local sponsor is, as mentioned, the first point of call during the registration. They also must have some basic requirements for access to information, technical information regarding the product. Also, they have to track the stock within Australia. So if there is any recall or any adverse event, then they will have to be able to notify the TGA as well as the distributors and the patients and hospitals. And they also are required to do the device vigilance, pretty much the same as they would use or they would do in Europe. That means collecting any post-market reporting data, submitting reports if necessary, and the list goes on, but I would only just highlight these things.
Okay, well, that's very helpful. Thank you very much, David. And the last question we've got so far is for Jonathan. It's with regards to distribution centers. So, will Seeding Matters consider a distribution center in Australia to serve Australia, New Zealand, or any other nearby markets?
Yeah, so we currently have a distribution center in Sydney, and we have an office there that looks after that, and that's kind of the master distributor. So we send everything there, and then they'll supply, you know, the smaller distributors from there. So we can send over full containers and, you know, allow the customer to, you know, just get one chair at a time if that's what they need. So, yeah, that's how we work currently.
Okay, Jonathan, just following up on that, is that the strategy you will advise once you have a more a wider presence in the region? Did it work well for you?
Yeah, I think that works well for us. It's, as I said at the start of the conversation, Australia is probably one of our better set up export countries, and it's kind of a model that we would want to replicate when we go to other countries. We feel that Australia is the one that we've kind of mastered. We've got it right as far as being able to be self-sufficient in the market, and, you know, being able to supply through multiple routes. You know, in other countries, maybe we're working with partners where we're just in one area, or we're just in one hospital or one sector of the healthcare market. Whereas Australia, we've hit every sector, we're in every state, and we're starting now to, you know, bounce from there out to New Zealand and hopefully other countries.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. We haven't received any more questions so far. Conscious of the time, I would like to advise anyone in the audience or anyone seeing this at a later stage that to feel free to reach out to Tai, myself, to any other Invest in IT channels to explore the Australian market and what opportunities might be there for you. It will be glad to help you out on that region. We'll have staff on the ground, we'll have staff in Belfast and can help you out. And hopefully we can develop that market together for you. And with no other questions that I can see, I will conclude this session. I'll thank you, the panelists, again for their time, considering the time differences across the world. And thank you everyone in the audience for participating. Have a good day, everyone.